Hello, everyone, and welcome to the MoPod, brought to you by MoDate, where we discuss everything Mo, from modern orthodoxy to my opinions and more. I'm your host, Evan Harris, and we have a great guest for you today. Let's get to it. Today, we're sitting down with Annie Rabinowitz. How are you, Annie?
Hi, great. How are you?
I'm doing well. So before we get started diving into your background, just want to ask you a question we're going to ask everyone involved in this bundle. Do you consider yourself a shadchan?
I do not. The
Okay,
reason I
why
do
not?
not, the reason I do not is because the platform Neshamas Connect is meant to give singles the power back. So they have the power to look through videos of other singles, and based on personality, they are able to message anyone that they might be interested and proceed how they see fit. I really wanted to help, but I didn't really see myself being able to make matches based on resumes, because how am I going to know who you like just because you have some of the same interests? I don't necessarily feel like that's enough, you know? So I felt like, let's take things back to the basics. Let's see if we're interested in getting to know someone based on this short video that they're presenting. And if they are, that's when you can message them and you know, if you want to go on it straight on a date, go for it. You want to do a phone call, go for it. Proceed however you like.
All right, sounds good. So before we get into Neshamas Connect, just want to dive into your background, where you're from, and your religious background, and how you kind of got involved in this whole dating world.
Sure. So I am originally from Brooklyn, New York. When I got married, I moved to Staten Island. And when I was in Staten Island, a bunch of people that just kind of wanted to help the singles community got together and formed a committee. And they put together a bunch of Shabbatons. So that was very inspiring to me. I was on the committee. I was not the most involved in the committee as other people, but it was just very inspiring. And then, you know, COVID hit and they weren't able to continue with the Shabbatons. So they started some Zoom events and things like that. And then that's when this idea kind of came to me. I felt like if people are open to speed dating options, you know, they might be open to this, especially because I think if you're able to speed date, you're under a bit more pressure than you are if you were to go on Neshamas Connect. Because with Neshamas Connect, you're able to make a video in the privacy of your own home. You can do 100 takes if you like and only put on the one that you're comfortable with. And I feel like it's less pressure. And then you can kind of just speak to those that you're interested in. And religiously, I'm modern Orthodox.
Gotcha. And so what's your background career-wise? Like, how did you get into this? And do you think it relates at all to what you learned in school?
Great question. I am a speech language pathologist. The reason I got into speech language pathology is because I wanted to have a career that would kind of let me help people while making money. Because
Gotcha.
realistically, I felt like I want to help people, but I don't know how I'm going to do that and make money. So I figured, let me find something that, you know, allows me to do both at the same time. I specialize in early intervention, so I work mostly with children under 3. And I do like to help people. So this, you know, kind of stemmed from just desire to help. I mean, you know, dating, I did it myself. It was not easy at all. And you know, I felt like I had this idea and I wanted to really put it into fruition.
Got it. So you mentioned on your website a story about how you met your husband and how that kind of inspired you to start Neshamas Connect, and you wanted to make dating a little bit different. So can you just dive into that and tell us that story?
Yeah, absolutely. So I had dated someone when I was, I don't know, around 20 or so, and he ended things with me. And when he did, he told me that he thought highly of me and he'd like to set me up. So eventually we ended up working together about a year later in a professional setting. And he asked me if I was still single. And I said, yes, I was. And he said, you know, I have someone in mind for you. Are you okay to accept the date? And I said, yeah, I just have a few questions that I want answers to. And it was, you know, coming from like post seminary dating world where you have in your mind, like, it's important that the guy does this and does he do that? And is he like this? And a lot of like religious things were on the checklist. And when my coworker asked my now husband, started asking him these questions, my husband at some point said, no, this girl is not for me. If she has all this list of questions, that's just not the type of girl I'm looking for. You're my friend. You want to set me up with someone? I'm gonna just say sure. I'm gonna go for it. But if she's not like that, not for me. And he didn't call me like for a long time. And, my coworker followed up and he said, how's it going? I said, he never called. So luckily he was very pushy, and I guess he felt strongly about the connection, and he reached back out to my husband. He said, you didn't call her, you have to call her. So eventually he did call me, and we hit it off kind of straight off the bat. And on our first date, he confronted me about the questions. He said, what was with those questions? And I said, you're right. Like, at the end of the day, you could check all of those boxes, but if you and I don't have a connection, it's irrelevant. And that's really the background of the website. Get to know someone and see if you have a connection, because without a connection, you can check every box in the world, and it's going to be very hard to maintain a healthy, happy relationship, because you have to have that connection. Things get hard, people face challenges, and you need that connection to kind of pull you through those things. And once you see that you connect, obviously a lot of these questions are important, and I'm definitely not trying to minimize them. It's important to be on the same page with a lot of things. But, I hear lots of stories where, people do a lot of research before they accept a date, and sometimes parents are involved. And, by the time the couple goes out and they meet, they realize sometimes within the first 5 minutes that they're not interested in each other, even though the resumes matched up really beautifully. So I kind of took that out of the equation, and just want to go back to, is there a connection?
Gotcha. So starting the website, you said you did that during COVID. Was it just you that had this idea and decided to go about it by yourself? And also,
Yeah.
how did you come up with, like, I see how you came up with the idea, but how did you come up with the name? And how did you define your target audience, let's say?
So great question. I came up with the name. It is just me. I kind of,
Wow.
again, I had this idea and I thought it was a really great idea. I did have some people say, some people think, wow, it's an amazing idea, go for it. And some people said, I don't know, I would never make a video of myself. It's just too hard, and I feel too exposed. And I just felt really strongly about the concept. And the reason I named it what I did is because I really do think it's about two people, two neshamas connecting with each other. And once that happens, I mean, anything is possible. I would love for people to, not have a focus on, again, the checklists and the physical attributes, because again, once there's a connection, so many of those things just fall by the wayside. And the other thing about those checklists, and I can say this from personal experience, some of the things that you think that you need to be married, you're wrong about. Some things that you're sure you need in a partner, you're wrong about, because you don't necessarily know until you're married what you need. So again, all about the connection. Neshamas, two people making that connection with each other. And my middle daughter's middle name is Neshama, so that was a nice inspiration as well.
Gotcha. Very nice. So for all of our listeners who don't know how to sign up for Neshamas Connect, how it works, what's exactly the process for people that are looking to date if they want to sign up for your website?
Okay, so it's super simple. They just go to www.neshamasconnect.com and they click the sign up button, and it just asks you for your first name, your last initial, your email address. And that's really all it takes to sign up. It's free. There's no cost to it. You have full unlimited access to the site as long as you submit a video. I personally review the video to just make sure nobody's saying anything hateful and people are, dressed and things like that. And then I put it on the site and grant you access to browse videos of other singles. And then you message them and proceed how you see fit. Again, you had asked me who the target audience is, which is a really good question. The target audience is all Jews. All Jews are welcome on the site, regardless of their religious affiliation. Everybody's welcome. Right now on the site, there's a large mix of people that are Jewish, ranging in age from 20 to 73 right now. And again, all different religious backgrounds. Yeah.
Okay, very cool. So you mentioned that there are a lot of things that people think about and maybe do research for before going on a date with someone that might not actually matter in the end, even if they think it matters. At the same time, obviously some things do matter, right? I'm wondering, are there any filters on your website to kind of make sure that you're only seeing videos of people that would be applicable to you? Like, how do you know when you start to watch a video that this person is even in the same ballpark as you?
Yeah, so right now the only filters are really age and gender. Um, as God willing, the website grows, I would like to incorporate loose filters with maybe loose religious categories, like maybe
Gotcha.
Shabbos versus not. I specifically would like to avoid very, close categories because I don't know. To me, again, like if I'm modern Orthodox, I don't feel like I should rule out somebody that's maybe modern Orthodox Machmir or modern Orthodox liberal because we're so close. I feel like I should be open to somebody that's a little bit not on the same page as me, but close enough. At the same time, I understand that maybe somebody who's Hasidish and somebody who's Reform is not going to be appropriate for each other. So to answer your question, right now, you know, you should be able to get a decent idea from somebody's video. The goal of the video is for somebody to represent themselves and make their personality shine. Some people do get into their religious level of observance, so that is helpful, but right now there's no filters with that.
Okay, very cool. So something that is hopefully on the way, and who knows, by the time this comes out, maybe that'll already exist.
Yes.
So I'm wondering, what were the problems that you felt existed that you were trying to solve when you decided to actually start something? Because it obviously takes a lot of time, like probably more time than anyone listening can even imagine. And so there was obviously something, a hole in the market or just a problem you felt existed that you were trying to solve. So what was that, if you had to pinpoint it?
Yeah, I think I touched on it a little before, and that's, these checklists and people's demands of, what they want to see in a potential match. Again, some people may have a better idea than others. Some people who maybe are divorced may, say, okay, this was a problem in my last relationship. I know that I need something different this time. And I understand that. I mean, for me personally, some of the things that were on that checklist were completely off from what I actually needed, and some of the things that were really important in my marriage were not things that I thought about. Like one of those is finding somebody that's a positive person just in general. I
Mhm.
didn't think about something like that before. Thank God my husband happens to be a very positive person, and now like seeing that and how important that is. We've been married for 16 years now, and so many times that's just like such a wonderful attribute that really helps so many situations. And I encourage other people to look for that as well. And that trumps a lot of things. Also religiously, people change throughout their lifetime religiously. Sometimes people grow, sometimes people go in the other direction. But I think it's very important to have some common ground, but also realize that's not just the basis on making a decision. You have to build love, and you have to have a friendship and really care for each other to be able to get through things in life.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's great advice. So I assume for the most part, you start this out of the goodness of your heart, and most people are probably very positive about it, right? Saying how amazing it is and saying what a special thing you're doing because it really is. But at the same time, sometimes you're always going to have critics, right? And people that give you negative feedback. So I'm wondering how you deal with that negative feedback and what's some feedback you've gotten that you think is just inappropriate or just things that you have to deal with that you might not have expected.
So thankfully, I haven't really gotten much inappropriate feedback, but I have like I would say the biggest thing that I need to overcome, and the website needs to overcome, is just this fear of making a video, right? Because that's
Hmm.
really what the website is about. If you don't like, I have a bunch of people that sign up and don't actually ever send a video, and then there's no, I mean, they may as well not have signed up. There's no benefit to being on the site. They don't
Yeah.
have access to browsing videos. So that is my biggest challenge. I think that part of the reason that that's going on is because it's a relatively new concept, and it's not so common, and so maybe people are a little bit nervous to be the pioneers and to try it. But again, it's that's the purpose of the platform. The purpose is to be able to see someone, look at them, and you'd be surprised how much you can tell about somebody's personality from just the 60 seconds that the video is. You can see a lot. You can tell when somebody's confident. You can tell when somebody's positive. Again, sometimes people will talk about religiously where they're holding. You can see sometimes if you have common interests with people. So I would love to be able to break through that barrier and get people comfortable, and make it mainstream. Again, I screen all the videos, so I make sure there's nothing inappropriate going on. So, that's something to keep in mind as well.
Gotcha. So you mentioned that you could tell a lot about someone's personality from the video. I'm wondering, the fact that you're able to take so many cuts of this video, right? Do you see ever that kind of dumbing down someone's personality? Because a lot of what happens in especially the modern Orthodox world is that people have bios, right? More so bios than resumes. And a lot of these bios end up sounding the same because people want to be very safe in their bios. Do you find that also in these videos that people kind of play on the safe side, which sometimes takes away from their personality?
Not usually. I have to say I've been pretty impressed overall with people's videos. I mean, again, there definitely are exceptions. But again, I think overall people are able to kind of show who they are. If I feel like somebody is really kind of reading off their resume, I encourage them to try again and make another video, because again, the point is not necessarily what you're looking for. Focus on who you are and what matters to you, and try to relay that so that somebody that feels similarly or respects what you're saying will be attracted to you. And that's just something that you can't necessarily get across as much of in a resume.
Gotcha. And just out of curiosity, if you're able to share these metrics, if you have them, I'm wondering, so people submit videos and then people are able to reach out to people that have submitted the videos, right? Is it more often that men are reaching out to women about their videos or women reaching out to men, or have you seen kind of like an even mix?
So I actually don't know. There's a lot of privacy on the site in the sense of I only know what people are willing to tell me. So
Okay.
if people email me and let me know, hey, I messaged this person, I went on a date, I'll know. If they don't reach out to me and tell me, I won't necessarily find out. I have had situations where people ask me for help, and advice, and they just want to know what happened. So I had an example where a man reached out to a woman and he didn't get a response from her. So he let me know, and I said, I'm happy to reach out to her. I reached out to her and asked her what happened. And she kind of said that she didn't respond because, when he reached out to her, he didn't really say hi or try to get to know her. His first question to her was, will you relocate? So she didn't really appreciate that so much. And I kind of tried to help both sides. I said, look, I'm sure he's coming from just the standpoint of not wanting to waste your time. If you guys are not in the same geographic location, but I understand why you would want him to maybe initiate with some other question. And then I said to him, I tried to explain to him like how that might come across. And I said, it sounds like she would really be open to going out with you if you kind of just made an attempt a little bit more to get to know her. So things like that happen as well.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely interesting and something that it is obviously tough for you to navigate, where people are coming to you and kind of asking questions that are not so answerable, definitely not from your side.
Right. At the same time, I'm really happy to help. I mean, that's why I'm doing this. So if
Yeah,
anyone needs that, that's fine. But if somebody is private and doesn't want me involved, then they have that option as well. But I do encourage everyone, if something good is going on, please let me know. Like I would love to hear
yeah,
that.
for sure. Yeah, before we started our website, we also had kind of a system where we couldn't really keep track of anything. So I always encourage people, if something's going on, like please let me know. And when someone does, it's great. So to take conversation to a different place, I'm not sure if this happens to you ever, but sometimes it happens when something new pops up. I don't know if it happened when with Neshamas Connect specifically, but sometimes when something new pops up, I kind of get texts from a bunch of people saying like, "Ooh, competition." And
Mhm.
I just want to say that there really is no competition in this world. First of all, like there's room for plenty of things. Second of all, no two things really do the exact same thing. So I don't know if anyone ever like comes to you and says, "Oh, look, new competition," but I just want to say how silly that is.
Evan, I could not agree with you more. I'm so happy that you touched on this. Yeah, I will say that, like, again, I've been so happy with so much, people like you and many other people who have reached out and offered what can they do to help or what can they do to promote the platform. People have written articles, as I know they've written
Yeah,
about website articles as well. It's been so amazing. However, I have had the flip side of things where, I mean, again, I'm not really paying for advertising at this point because, there's only there's like a limit to what I can do.
yeah,
Not charging for the website and everything. So, when I try to post on Facebook to relevant groups, many are so welcoming and happy to have me there, but I do have some that do not accept the posts. And I can definitely understand that if it's like a shadchan and it's their business and they feel like I may be taking away from their business. I understand it like that, but I think a lot of the platforms are trying to do a chesed the same way that I'm trying to do a chesed. And if that's the case, I would hope that I would be very welcomed. I know they would be very welcomed, like on any information that I have. I'm always happy to share good resources that I have because my platform might not be right for everybody and your platform might not be right for everybody. So it's so important that there are platforms there accessible to everybody. And I think all of us have a common goal, which is that we just want to help our fellow Jews get married. And I think that it's important to remember that, because
yeah,
sometimes, like, selfishly, we want to feel like, ooh, my platform did it, but really at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whose platform did it as long as everyone is making effort and everybody is promoting people. Because again, it's not about promoting people. It's not about me as an individual or my website. It's about making connections and helping people get married.
yeah, for sure. It's something that definitely I've seen also in the Facebook groups and just kind of we're trying to do this chesed, right? And it's just sometimes hard to get people to promote you or whatever it is. But at the same time, I'm definitely not on this other side yet. Like the Modate Instagram account now has almost 1,000 followers. And so I haven't really been asked so many times to promote other things, but at the same time, I am starting to understand these people who don't necessarily just want to promote everyone that comes their way because it gets to become a lot. But at the same time, if you're actually just writing in the Facebook group, I don't see why that would be a problem as opposed to actually making someone do anything else. And
Yeah.
so I think everyone should understand that everyone's kind of just trying to has the same goal and just different methods of getting there.
Yeah, I think it can be easy to forget. You get caught up if you have like a super large group or a super popular platform. It's sometimes easy to get caught up, and in a way, I'm grateful for this experience because I want to make sure that that doesn't happen to me. I want to make sure that I always remember what the goal is and not let anything selfish get in the way of that.
For sure. So we're going to move on to a segment we do here on the MoPod called the MoPod Lightning Round, where I'm just going to fire off some quick questions and you tell me the first thing that comes to your mind. You ready?
Sure.
What is your favorite cereal?
Cheerios.
What is the easiest thing we can do to solve the shidduch crisis?
Try different platforms.
Do you prefer shades or blinds?
Blinds.
What's your favorite email provider outside of Gmail?
Yahoo.
Are you more scared of lightning or thunder?
Lightning.
What's one piece of advice you would give everyone who's currently in the dating process?
Be open-minded, look for positivity in people, look for somebody that you connect with, somebody that you can build a relationship with and a family with, and don't pay as much attention to those checklists.
Okay. Thank you, Annie Rabinowitz, for coming on the MoPod. Anything else you want our listeners to know before we sign off?
I don't think so, Evan. This was so wonderful. You did an awesome job. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Thanks so much for coming. Pump the volume.